Hey YouTube, I'm back. Um, there were some things that were brought up in the comment section in my first video that I wanted to address. Um, again, these are my opinions. I'm not a professional in anything. I might say something. Um, if I do say something, make sure you do some research on it, please. Most of the things that I say and do are based off of my experiences and how I'm perceiving the moment. Um, I've seen other people do some of the things that I've done, and the outcome for them is totally different. Um, it's it's not good. Sometimes it's better, but we'll just say this: always protect yourself. Use good judgment. Um, Concerning Derek Chauvin, first and foremost, my stance with that individual right there is, again, there, by law, against law, there's nothing that my satisfaction for pain, whether it be mental or physical, would satisfy me with that individual known as Derek Chauvin. Let me be very clear about that. Um, Death is too fast, and torture is not or long enough. Um, Watching this trial play out, yeah, that brings out a side of me, seeing the different things that he touched upon, the different institutions, the different emotions, how some of these lives will change. Um, that individual right there, the pains and tortures he deserves, there's people I would like to talk to so I could get what their opinion of pain and torture is, and we'll go with that. We'll just say that. Um, Now, about Derek Chauvin and his trial and how he's being charged. Um, Second degree murder, third degree murder, manslaughter, um, versus life. Well, before we go into any of those, um, let's talk about two words called, well, concurrent and consecutive. And we're going to keep that very simple. And you need to, if this catches your attention, you should look up how the words are used and where they're used. And I'm just going to give you basics of concurrent. All sentences run together. In other words, this is in the law, the court of law, how a person, if they've been found guilty of something, of multiple things, they'll be sentenced. And if they're sentenced, they'll either be sentenced concurrent, is what we're talking about right now. And what that is say if, in the case of Derek Chauvin, he's charged again with second degree murder, second degree manslaughter, and third degree murder. Second degree murder is 40 years max. Third degree murder is 25 years max. Second degree manslaughter is 15 years max. I've got my notes right there. And if, again, he's not charged with life, so this is hypothetical what I'm saying right now. If he was charged with life, it'd be 25 years. So he's literally, the second degree murder charge is right now is the heaviest charge he's carrying. So again, let's go back to concurrent. All those sentences that he's being charged with right now, they are concurrent. If they ran concurrent, I should say, those sentences would run all together, and he would be eligible for parole and whatever the parole time is in Minnesota. I haven't done the research on that. However, let's talk about consecutive. Consecutive is time on the first charge has to run out before the next charge or charges time can now start. In other words, that would change their parole dates or possibility for parole dates. That changes up a lot of different things. So when it comes to the way that the attorneys, the state of Minnesota has chosen to charge him, and from what I understand, it's a good way to charge him. Now it just comes in the wording of how if he's found guilty, first of all, which is another subject, and I will talk about that a little bit. It will fall into the wording of how his sentencing, how they word his sentencing, how he'll serve his time, whether, basically it'll say when he can get his parole. Now, when it comes to that individual going to prison, if he's found guilty, well, yeah, I imagine the worst things come to him because of what not only he's made the immediate people around him have to live through, and people he did and didn't know. The life he took, the children, the young adults, the teenagers, all the lives he changed. He deserves every pain on this planet, and he deserves to live through it all. Whatever you despise the most, that individual is Derek Chauvin. He deserves that. Yes. Derek Chauvin, this case, it addresses policing, in my opinion, simply for the fact of the way that I'm seeing if the videos that I've seen, and according to the testimony, if we just take out all the testimony and just the videos, and go with the different things that I've seen. First of all, I want to address I'm human first. I'm a human being before anything. I've lived in this country. I've lived in multiple places in this country. And when it comes to racial and ethnicity issues, I've seen things in the Pacific Northwest, the Midwest, the East Coast, and I was born on the West Coast. I don't really have too much history with my West Coast, with my where I was born. The memories, lack of. But what I will tell you is that the things that I've seen done and how I've dealt with law enforcement, as well as the court systems, in the case of this whole Derek Chauvin thing, I've had a unique capacity. I've had the capacity. I'm not going to say unique. I'm sure other people have this if they've been through this journey. But I had the capacity to see it from a different angle than a lot of people. A lot of different things I've seen. We don't need to get into that, but it's shaped a lot of my opinion about policing in this country. Um, and policing in this country for one group of people has been beneficial. However, the other group of people that the policing is actually supposed to be beneficial for has grown exponentially. I don't know what those numbers are. That's why I use that word. Um, the disdain that the policing institution uses towards black people, it uses it towards all people, but specific, we're going to address black people in this situation because that's what this is about. Derek Chauvin was a white police officer, and what he did was to a black man. Um, First and foremost, if you just met me on the street, generally, most people, when they talk to me, as long as my hair's not generally out, or my head is shaved, or there's other things that when I'm approached on the street, no matter what, I am not assumed to be a black man, or well, not I'm not assumed to be black, and I have always talked with a very proper, in a proper tone. That plays a part into why I've had to deal with police the way I've dealt with them, and not had to deal with them the way I haven't had to deal with them. Now, it doesn't say I haven't seen it with my own eyes, or haven't been affected by it through my blood ties. What I will say is at time has at times it's given me an advantage. It has, um, but me being light skinned black does it's there's more into it. Um, my ethnic background is not of, well, I'm half white and half black, first of all. And you add in, I talk very proper, and at times they don't, people don't know what they're dealing with. And because they don't know what they're dealing with, it keeps them back on their heels. Um, a light skinned black man, they will, in my opinion, I'm not a light skinned black man. Again, I'm half white and half black and half white, melanated. Um, I can only view things through my eyes. And what I've seen is, yes, light skinned black people, sometimes, if they talk proper, if they have a demeanor that white people, or for that matter, any other people, don't take as threatening, which, by the way, is taken as threatening in other places where they have to deal with people. Don't think just because they're light skinned and talk proper, don't think they have a great life, because they're dealing with that intelligence that they're using to try and get forward. They're dealing with it somewhere. Right? Don't ever think a person has it easy because of the way they talk or the way they think. You know, smart people, they have issues too with people. But this isn't about that. This is about a white police officer killing a black man. Um, he, again, a lot of emotion, and we're usually taught not to use things like hatred, words like that. This, but the way that I feel and the way that watching this trial play out has gone, hatred is the only way to really describe what I feel towards this individual and the institution of policing. Um, the institution of policing allows these type of individuals to exist. Again, not one or two people will allow. You have to be a level of disconnect to be able to allow something like that, any level of this to exist. Um, and the defense of Derek Chauvin is not doing this country or Derek Chauvin a favor. Okay, what the defense has shown literally is how everything and everybody is disconnected from everything. All right, all the other institutions want to live by a creed that they're not allowed because one institution doesn't want, it has to protect itself. It has to protect itself from its narcissist. You know, yesterday I talked about how Derek Shaw, the lieutenant, was said that he disagreed with the choices that Derek Chauvin made. Let me be a little bit more direct. What I saw with that lieutenant was I saw a proud man, somebody that had worked a lot of time, that had been through some years, and I grew up through those years. I didn't grow up in Minneapolis or Minnesota. Um, been there, yes, but I didn't grow up there. I have no connection to the place, like the people that live there. So when I saw that proud man talking about how he was, or he disagreed with what his officer did, okay, and yeah, I agreed with it. I was thankful for that because I've seen officers that just agree just to get people to quit talking to them about whatever they're talking to them about. And I've seen this at different levels with different things. Um, so for me, it was just simply okay, a easy answer. Yeah, he's, if your boss doesn't agree with it, you're guilty. But what I really saw was I saw an individual disconnected from his entire staff in a way where he could not be held accountable, and that's all he cared about. Now, I could be completely wrong. If I'm wrong, then hey, I'm wrong. But again, Derek Chauvin, in his need to take the life of another individual, because that is my opinion. When I look at those videos, that individual did not care about his family. Not when we're not even getting into George Floyd's family first. We're talking about the people that affect Derek Chauvin. He did not care about the people that he would go home to, the people he would see within the next 12 hours. He didn't care about the people he would see in the next week. What his intent was to take George Floyd's life, in my opinion, when I look at those videos. That is what I see. And it starts a whole flood of different emotions and, well, no, not it simply, let's put it this way, I hate that individual and I hate the institution he represents because they allowed an individual like that in. All right, I can protect myself from those types of individuals. Can you, though? Can you protect your family? I will protect mine. Okay. As a mixed, ethnically mixed human being looked at as a black man. Um, I've had relatives' lives taken. I've seen people who I had no clue who their lives were taken. I've seen how this institution of policing works in our society, and I've seen it from definitely some different angles. Um, I've seen it help people, but more times than not, I've seen it hurt people. When I see a police officer in any manner, I it's subconsciously in my head to, no matter what's going on, to not want to call the police, to not want police involvement. And I've lived this way my whole life. The things that I have dealt with, um, one of the first things I'll tell people, no matter what, is I'll listen to whatever they're saying, and no matter how upset they are, if I think that there's going to be any kind of altercation, I will tell them you should probably call the police first. Now, if they do it, that's on them. I've never had a time where, when those words have been uttered, that the police, they didn't eventually call the police, or somebody called the police. But I do not call the police. I've never called the police. Um, no matter where I've gone, no matter where I've lived, the police, even when I was very young, um, and that was when I would watch Nancy Reagan and President Reagan try and convince the youth that the police were our friends. And the places I had lived, I had seen with my own eyes. I was a child. The police definitely weren't our friends. That's something I've never seen ever. And you can try and talk about what this, that, and the third is, but what you saw in Derek Chauvin, I've seen my entire life, and I'm just one person. Imagine what those plethora of people that you don't know, they have a story as well. I'm just going to leave this here because, yeah, this is. I got to start watching Derek Chauvin the rest of the trial. Have a good day. Talk to you later.